All right, I'm going to play through One Deck Dungeon. Oops, upside down. There's the box, One Deck Dungeon. I have played this game one time before, and I played it with my daughter. We played two-player version of the game. It wasn't that long ago, 2-3 months-ish ago, but I don't remember all the rules entirely, or I didn't before I started reading through the book before doing this playthrough. And I'm in the middle of a campaign of Jaws of the Lions, and I wanted to just play something real quick that I could knock out in one quick sitting. I had to clean off the game table for something else, so before I break Jaws out again, thought I'd do something that I can get through in one sitting here. I'm gonna just shuffle up the characters and get a random character. Okay, and I'm looking up. I'll take this one. Is the warrior. Put it over here. I don't think you'll be able to see entirely the top of the card, but you can see most of the card here. So the warrior is going to start with 4 fight dice. I think it's fighting, the top one. It's the yellow dice, 2 agility dice, and only 1 magic die. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hearts. This is the solo side. You can tell from the top up here where it says 1 player. The warrior's heroic feat says roll any or all of your dice stored here, and I can store a black die there, which is a heroic die. For each damage you take, you may store up to 2 dice at a time. And it's called Frenzy, and I can use it on an attack encounter or I don't remember what those are called. This is the other kind of encounter. Let's look it up real quick. Peril Encounter. It's a Peril Encounter. And you cannot use your heroic feat on the boss encounter. And then I have an ability that I can use whenever the time. It's a free, that arrow means free ability. When you descend, heal 2 damage. So as I go through the levels, I will be able to heal 2 damage. I think I've got the board set up in a way. I'll put the enemy that I'm fighting over here. I'll probably show it to you guys over there first, but as I'm assigning dice to it, I'll put it over here. I have the stairs card there. So I will shuffle up the dungeon cards. I'm doing the Dragon's Cave, so I'll show you what that encounter or this particular dungeon looks like. So there are the dungeon cards. So that's the Dragon's Cave. So I'm on the floor number 1, which is the top line. Floor number 2 and 3 will be covered by the turn reference here until I descend down to those levels. On Peril Encounters, I have to put a die of 2 or higher on that, on the left-hand side, and that has a shield on it, which means I have to do all of the shields. When the box has a shield on it, you have to do all the shields before you can do anything else. And on the right-hand side for combat encounters, that is a yellow combat die of a single die, and I need to put a die there of value 3 or higher. And if I don't cover that up, I'll take 1 heart worth of damage. But it also has on it Hall of Statues. Spend an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 time before your first turn on each floor. So that's going to cost us some time. So you note which floor you're on by having the turn reference card like that, and I have to do both of these things. When I go down to floor number 2, I have to do all 4 of those things, and then floor 3, all 6 of those things. I don't have to do all of them. It depends on the type of encounter. What I should say is that all 6 of them are options out there that have to be covered. So if it's a combat, I have to do these 3. If it's peril, I have to do those 3. I start out at level 1, and I'll talk about the leveling up mechanic. So I can have 1 item, which means I can put loot on this side of the card. I can have one skill, which means I can get a skill down here when I take out an encounter. I get one potion during setup. I do not get any heroic dice as encounter bonuses, and it's going to take 6 experience to level up, which is noted down here. Oh, you know what? That's the 2-player side. I need to flip these over to the 1-player side. Good thing I noticed that, because I get an extra skill. This is the 1-player side. So that little indicator right there is what I had. I had it flipped backwards. 1 item, 2 skills, still 1 potion during setup, still 0 heroic dice on encounters, and still 6 to level up. So I'll keep that off to the side over there. So the way that this basically works is at the start of every turn I have to spend time, and spending time is basically just taking cards from this deck and putting them into the discard pile. Then I can either explore, which is populating the board with 4 doors, or making it so that it has 4 doors on it. There could be like 2 empty spots, and if I explored, it would bring more doors over here until there's a total of 4. So I can either explore, or I could enter one of the rooms. And entering a room means I either flip it over if it's face down, and then I have the option of either encountering it or fleeing, or if it's already open, then I can choose to just encounter it. And when I encounter something, I will run through how an encounter works. And I think that we're set up here, ready to go. I have 1 potion, and right now it's the only potion I have available to me is a healing potion. I could heal 3 damage from 1 hero at the start of a turn, or 2 damage at any time. And you are allowed, if you're about to be knocked out, you can take damage, and if it takes you down to 0, you are allowed to immediately use a potion to stay alive, a healing potion. We've got a hero, we've got the dungeon cards. The dungeon itself is tucked under there. We've got the 1 potion. We're using the 1-player side of the hero. And that's it. There is a campaign mode, but I'm just playing the one-off non-campaign mode here. Okay, so just like normal, if you are familiar with the game and you see any rules mistakes that I make, please put the timestamp and a comment on the video. That'll help me learn the rules. I gotta tell you, I got this game, so just to tell you how long this game has been on my shelf of shame, I got this game at Gen Con 2017, the 50th Gen Con, the one and only time I've ever been to Gen Con. And I travel a lot for work, so I got it because it was compact, small little box. I've had it in my luggage, in my suitcase, I don't know, probably 10 times when I've gone places for work. And it just seems like every time I get back to the hotel, it's always so late. I've had a long day working while I was traveling, and I just never had gotten it out at the hotel. So just a little bit of how long this game has been on my my shelf of shame. Okay, so start of every turn. So first of all, before your first turn on each floor, so this will be my first turn on floor number 1, I have to spend 5 time. That's the Hall of Statues ability. So spending time is just flipping. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now it's the start of a turn. You always spend 2 time at the start of a turn. So 1, 2. Now I either explore or enter a room. I have no rooms to enter, so I'm going to have to explore. So exploring is making it so that there are 4 face down doors out here. And that's basically the end of my first turn. Very basic first turn, just get the thing set up. All right, so I start another turn. I have to spend 2 time, so 1, 2. Now I either explore or enter a room. I'm going to enter a room, so I will choose, let's choose upper right. So I'll flip it over and bring it over here. So this is a combat encounter. Some things to note that we don't have to worry about on the encounter. Over here on the left-hand side of the card, if I take this as loot, that will get added to my display. If I take it as experience, this is how many experience points I'll get. If I take it as an ability, or this would actually be a potion, I could take it as a potion, this would get added to my potion display up here. So there's either going to be potions or abilities down here on the bottom. So just as an example, let me put this one down for a second. I'll take one from the discard pile here. If I took this as an, what do they call them? They call them skills. Yeah, skills. If I took it as a skill, I would take this card and I would tuck it under my player card here, and now I have another skill that I could use for my character. So once I take a skill, I'll talk about how they're used. Okay, so let's look at this encounter. So in order to defeat this encounter, he's going to have an ability, Fade, spend time for each skill you use. Also, I have to roll dice to cover up these boxes in order to defeat it. So a 10 on agility, and I only have I have to get a long box like that means I can use multiple dice to cover it up. 10 on the agility, I only have 2 agility dice, and there's also 3 magic dice here at the bottom, and I only have 1 magic die that I could use. But I do have 4 fighting dice that I can roll. Now, you are allowed to take 2 dice and turn those 2 dice into 1 black heroic die, equal to the value of the lowest die of the 2 that you use for it, and a black die can be used to cover up any particular box. I don't think I'm going to choose to encounter this. I think I'm just going to flee. Just because of the setup with needing 3 magic dice. And I'm only, let's see, I'm starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 die. 7 dice. And there's some big numbers on there. I don't really have any abilities to use or anything yet. I think I'm just going to flee from this one and go on to the next turn. See if there's something else that I can get that might give me an item or a skill that I can use to get more dice. So when you do encounter a closed door like I did, you can open it and you can either have that encounter or flee. So I'm choosing to flee. There's nothing bad from fleeing that I can remember from the rules, other than to do another turn now I have to spend more time. And spending this time is getting me closer and closer to the stairs, which is going to send me further down into the dungeon. So I spent my time. I'll choose to encounter this down here. So, and this is a Peril Encounter. Spiked log. And you choose, if you are going to do the encounter, to either do the top portion of the encounter or the bottom portion of the encounter. So I will do this encounter. And when you do a Peril Encounter, you only roll the die of the type of encounter you're doing. So you see that top one there is it's fighting, I think it's fighting, agility, and magic are the 3 kinds of dice, I think. Or combat, it might be combat. It's agility, strength, and magic. Okay, so it's a strength type, the top one there, and it has a extra cost to do this encounter of 2 time. So I'll go ahead and do it. And you only roll the dice that are eligible to be used on there. So we're doing fighting, or sorry, strength. So as a warrior, I get 4 strength dice. And since I'm doing a Peril Encounter, I also have to cover up this box over here. And it has a shield, so that has to be covered up first. So I'm going to roll my dice here, and then I'll move the card over and show how I'm going to allocate. All right. And then when you're doing a Peril Encounter, the color of the die needed on a gray box like this one here, I don't know if you can tell that it's gray, but it doesn't have a specific color associated with it. It becomes the color of the encounter you're doing. So I'm doing a strength encounter. So a yellow or a black die can go here to cover up that box. Okay, so I'll move this over. I'm choosing to do this, so I need this top one, so I have to spend 2 time also as an extra cost. So that's 2 cards going over. And I need a 2 or higher here on the shield before I can even start covering up anything over here. So I will move that 2 to cover that up. And now I just need a value of 8 or higher with my dice here, which is no problem. I've got plenty of dice that I can use here to cover that up. On a Peril Encounter, you don't have to do both sides. You choose which one you're going to do. All right, so I have finished that, which means I have accomplished the encounter, or I've successfully completed the encounter. So I can put my dice off to the side. Now I have my choice of what to do with this card. I can either take it as an item, which I'll put it back over here so you can see up close. I can either take it as an item, which is going to add another agility die to my available pool. I could take it as 3 experience points, and I need 6 to level up. Or I could take this skill at the bottom. That skill at the bottom, it means I need to spend a magic die with value 4. So I could put a magic die that I roll a value 4 on it. If I did that, I could gain a combat 4 and an agility 4, or strength 4 and agility 4. Then I can increase one of my other dice by 1, or any of my dice by 1. That seems good, but I only have 1 magic die that I can roll. So I think I'll just take this as the item, and I'm allowed to have 1 item right now at level 1. So I will take that as another agility die. I put it under my card like that. I can probably scoot that up just in case I get some skills under here. And that's the encounter, that's the turn. There were no consequences to suffer. I'll walk through the steps of the encounter on the next one that I do, just so we can talk through those rules. Okay, so I go to the next turn, start of the next turn. I have to spend 2 time. And then I either explore or enter a new room. So if I explored at this point, I'd bring another card and put it face down, because explore gets you to the point where you have 4 total doors in play. I don't want to do that. I still don't think I want to encounter this shadow because of all the magic dice that are needed to take him on. So I think I'll enter a different room. We'll just go around the horn here. All right, we got another Peril Encounter. I would either have to choose between agility dice or magic dice. I get 3 agility dice, but remembering that I need to put 1 die up here to cover that one, I would really only get 2 dice to work on try to get an 11, and if I miss, so what the symbols on there mean is if you don't complete the encounter, or even when you complete the encounter, if you haven't met the criteria, so if I can't get to an 11 with my dice, with just my 2 agility dice that I had to have left, I'm going to suffer 2 damage and 4 additional time. I don't think I'm going to take this one on. I only have 1 magic die. I don't have any way to get any heroic dice yet because I have not been damaged. So I think I will just flee from that encounter as well. So next turn, 2 time spent, and I'll enter this room here. Okay, So we've got Ice Elemental. His ability is Frost. Before the encounter, spend 3 time. So I might be able to, you know, combine some dice to get past all the magic that's needed at the bottom. I have to encounter one of these things eventually, or I can just try to go for this one here, but this does not seem like the best start. So I might just have to take some damage and some extra time from not being able to cover up all of the boxes. So we'll do the encounter. You don't have to cover up everything in order to defeat the encounter. You just suffer the consequences of the items that, or the boxes that you can't cover. So before the encounter, I have to spend 3 time. That was his ability. I'm going to get 4 strength dice, 3 agility dice, and 1 magic die based upon my symbols right here. This one does have a nice skill on the bottom. So I think just have to take what comes at us. All right, and I do have an additional requirement up here. It does not have a shield on it, so I don't have to cover that one up before I cover up anything else. But I do have a strength requirement here of 11 that needs to be covered up before I can cover up anything else. And I have a 5 and a 6 on the strength dice there, so I will cover that up. I do have a 5 on my magic die here, so I will cover up this blue 5 here. I have a 3 strength die that I will cover up. This actually might work out. I think I'll take the wound, so let's see, I'll cover that up. Now we can talk about how to use combined dice to make a heroic die. So you can take any 2 dice. I'll take these 2 6s, and you create a heroic die equal to the lower value of the 2 dice. So if I use these 2, lower of the 2 that are equal, they're both 6s, so I can make a heroic 6, and then the heroic die can cover up anything. So I will cover up that 6 there. And then I've got a 4 and a 5 I will use to create a heroic 4 and cover up this one here. So the steps of an encounter are, if it was a peril encounter, you would make a choice, top or the bottom. I could use heroic feats then, but I can't use mine right now because I don't have any dice stored there. You gather and roll all your die, which I did. Then you can use skills, potions, and place dice. That's the step I've just done. I've placed all the dice. Now I'm at suffer consequences. I have a box here that I was not able to cover up with any dice. And the consequence is to take a damage. So I'm going to take a damage. And then my ability here says I can store a heroic die here for any damage that I take, and I can store up to 2 dice at a time. So I'm going to take a heroic die and store it here. So in the future, when I get to the heroic feat step, the heroic feat here says roll any or all of my dice stored here. So I'll show how that works. But now I have a damage on me out of my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 capacity. Okay, so the encounter is over, and I've suffered the consequence of the only box I did not have covered. So now I get the choice of, I cannot take it as an item. Well, I guess I could, but I think you replaced the one that you have already. Let me look that up. Rules reference. Yeah, you can replace an existing item or skill respectively. The replaced card is immediately claimed as XP. That's good to know. But I kind of like the skill that's on the bottom of this one because it allows me as a free thing that I can use. I can re-roll one of your dice or increase one of your dice by 1. And I can only use that once per, I don't even need to look that up. I can only use that once per encounter. So I like that skill. It is 4 experience points. I only need 6 to level up to level 2. Leveling up would allow me to get 2 more items and have an additional skill, and I would get 1 extra, I would get 1 free heroic die for every encounter. But I like this particular skill, so I'm going to take this as a skill. Put that down there. And that's the end of the turn. Going on to the next turn, spend 2 time at the beginning of the turn. Now I have a choice. Do I want to explore to fill out the 2 doors, or do I want to try to take on this shadow here? We might get lucky. Let's take on the shadow. So I will encounter this shadow, and I'll put it over there while I roll. So encountering him, I get the 4 strength dice, 3 agility dice, 1 magic die, and the first thing I do is I can use a heroic feat. So my heroic feat says I can roll any or all your dice stored here. So I'll roll it. It's a 5. So I will move it back over here. Now it's available for me to use if I want to. I don't have to. Is at least my recollection of how the dice on heroic feat work. Then I gather all my dice, which I did already. And whoops, I will roll them. Okay, pull this over, and now we use skills, potions, and place dice. So I need any number of dice up to 10 to cover that before I can start covering anything else. Okay, I have agility dice equal to 11. And I need 1 die 5 or higher to cover this. This was not a good roll. I will use my Lucky Familiar ability. I can re-roll one of my dice or increase one of my other dice by 1. I'm going to re-roll this magic die and try to get something good. Fade says I have to spend time for every skill that I use, so I'm using a skill. Got to spend the time for that. So let's re-roll this magic die, and I got a 3. I don't know if that was a 1 or not. Probably should have moved that stuff out of there. So I'm trying to decide if I want to use this or not. Because I could use, no. I'm gonna get hurt here pretty good, I think. So let's just use all of these agility dice that they're gonna total 11 to cover up this requirement of a minimum of 10 with multiple dice. I'd have to use 1 die 5 or higher to cover that box. Yeah, this is not great. And then I can use this magic die here. I need to cover this up here with a strength die of 3 or higher. If I made a heroic die with these, it'd be a 1, which isn't going to do anything for me because I need 1 die of either 4 or 5. So I think I will use my heroic die there to cover this 5 here. Yep, so that is all of my dice placing. These are not useful to me. So my consequences I'm going to suffer is 1 time and 1 damage. So I have to flip a time, and I will take another damage. Taking the damage with my ability here allows me to store another die there. So now the question is, what do I want to do with this? I could either make this a potion on the bottom there. Since it has the potion symbol, it would go under here and become another potion that's available. And whenever you use a potion here, you use it as any of the potions that are listed. That's not like specific as this one's a healing potion and this next one would be a heroism potion. Or I can take 3 experience, or I could swap out my agility item that I have there for a strength item and also an extra hit point. I think I'm just going to take this as XP because I might need the healing potions as much as possible because I'm kind of encouraged to take damage to get dice here for my heroic feat. I'll take it as XP. So when you take it as XP, you put it there to show you've got 3 towards the 6 that you need. Take a drink real quick. All right. Next turn. Spend 2 time at the beginning of the turn. I still don't think I want to encounter the force wall there. So I think I'll spend this turn exploring, which means I bring out 3 more doors. And that's the end of the turn. So start the next turn, spend 2 time, and go around the horn again, starting up here. So I will choose to counter this room. Too bad he's only 2 experience points, but I think I'll just go ahead and counter him. Undying, his ability is if any boxes are empty, spend 2 time. That must be at the end of the encounter. So it's just 2 extra time facing him. So step 1 of a combat encounter, use heroic feat. I'll roll this, and oh, it's only a 2. Oh, I gotta move that off of there. Next step is to gather all your dice. So I've got 4 strength dice, 3 agility dice, and 1 magic. Ooh, not good again. Now, I need to cover up 2 magic spots first. And my ability allows me to increase a die by 1. So I think I will use that to increase this magic die to a 4 to cover up that magic 4 right there with the shield. Then I'll probably use this. Having those 1s is not very beneficial. I have to use this to cover up this 5. I did not get a 6 on my strength dice. I do have a 5. But I can cover this up here. I have to remember that I need to cover this up first before I can cover up anything else. So I think I'll create a heroic die out of these 2, and the lowest one here would be a 2 to cover that up. So those are spent. Now I can cover up other things. But that leaves me with a lot of stuff uncovered. And I don't really have any way to use this agility 6 here. So I think I just have to suffer these consequences. Now his ability says if any boxes are empty, spend 2 times. So I got to spend 2 times. I'll take a damage from that not being covered, which has me at 3 out of 6, but my feat lets me add another heroic die there. These I can't spend. And I've got 3 more time as consequences here. So 1, 2, and 3. How much XP was on this one? So I think I'm going to do something interesting based on the rule that I read. Okay, so I've suffered all of the consequences of the boxes that were not covered. I think what I'm about to do is allowed by the rules based upon what I read earlier. So let's just read it out loud again. When you take an item or skill, you may replace an existing item or skill respectively. The replaced card is immediately claimed as XP. So since this is the same benefit as an item, I'm going to replace that one because I'm only, it doesn't really matter what that was. I'm only allowed to have 1 item. Although this ability, or the potion's kind of cool too. I don't think I'm gonna take it though. Spend 2 time before an encounter, skip to the claim loot phase. So you would just not worry about covering up any of the boxes. But what I'm gonna do here is still have that as an agility die, but then this immediately gets claimed as XP. That gives me 6 XP. So these are going to go in the discard. And I'm level 2. I get a potion when I level up. A little potion token goes there. So now I need 8 more XP to go up to level 3. Now I can get more items and more skills. And I get a free heroic die to add to my pool at the start of every encounter. Okay, start of the next turn. 1 and 2. What I think I'm going to do here, the way that the stairs work, just to get the doors off of there, there's 2 here. I'm not equipped very much as far as like items and skills go, but it's just how this particular playthrough is going. So what I'm going to do on my turn is I'm going to explore, which basically gets this door out here to make it 4. So that's the end of my turn. Start of my next turn, I have to spin the 2 time, so I flip 1 over. So then what happens is if you reveal the stairs when you're spending time at the start of a turn, I can descend down a level immediately. If I needed to spend time at some other point during the turn, for every time that I have to spend, you put damage tokens on the stairs. And here we can read what it says. While visible, place a damage token here for each spent, probably is missing the word time there. It's supposed to be for each spent time. Each time there are 3 tokens here, place 1 on a hero and remove the other 2. At the end of any turn, the heroes can descend. So if I was in the middle of an encounter and I had to take a bunch of time as a consequence or in order to do something, it would throw damage on this card, and then for every 3 damage on the card, my hero takes another damage. But if you reveal it at the start of a turn, I can descend immediately. So I'm going to descend, and when you descend, you pick up all the cards. These are doors that are on level 1. Pick up all the cards and shuffle them. There's one that's the wrong direction. Any more like that? Nope. I can do my second wind ability here, which is when I descend, I can heal 2 damage. I'm going to heal 2 damage off of me. And now I have to reveal floor number 2 on the Dragon's Cave, which brings more boxes out that I have to cover up during encounters. That was a terrible shuffle. I was trying to be gentle because I usually don't like to riffle shuffle like that. Okay, put the cards on top of the stairs. Hall of Statues, I have to spend 5 times before my first turn on every floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now my first turn on this floor. Start of every turn, spend 2 times. And my action this turn, very simple at the very beginning of the floor, is explore. Get 4 doors out there. That's the end of the turn. Start of the next turn, spend 2 times. Now let's pick a different door this time. We've gone up there each time. Let's go here. Bandit. Let's see, his ability dodge, making a heroic die, uses 3 dice, not 2. That's not very nice of him. There's lots of pink there. I do have 2 heroic dice in my heroic feat area. And 2 combat dice. My magic die would basically be useless unless I use it, but I have to use 3 to make a heroic die. Let's do it. I gotta actually make some progress here. So getting my dice, I get 4 strength dice, 3 agility dice, 1 magic die, and now I get 1 heroic die for every encounter as a bonus. I'm going to use my heroic feat here. This says I can roll any or all of my dice stored there. 5 and 2. Take all these dice. A 1, that's not what you're supposed to be, heroic die. Guess I could re-roll that. Okay, so what do we need to cover up here? There are no shields. And that's a 5 on that magic die up there, or I take 2 hits. Okay, so we need 8 agility to cover up this big box here. 3 agility there. 2 5s here and here. And 4 to cover up that one. So I'm left with a 2, a 2, and a 1. I could use this 5 to cover up that blue die there, and then re-roll this and try to get a 4 or higher to cover up that last box. I think is the way to go. My only consequence is if I don't do it is a time. So I'm using my lucky familiar to re-roll 1. It also could increase it die by 1, but it was a 2, so or it was a 1, so it's not close enough to make it a 4. And fail. So that one doesn't get covered. The consequence there is a time. And now I can decide what I want to do with this. I think I will take this. I think I'm going to take it as an item just so I can have another magic die. Because the skill there would give me the ability to add more strength dice, but I'm already pretty good on strength dice. Okay, end of the turn. New turn, spend 2 time. And let's enter a room. How about this one? It's an ogre. That is a lot of strength. I don't think I want to encounter this guy right now. So we'll just do another turn. Start of a turn, spend 2 time, and let's see what's in here. Okay, Plague Rat. His ability is Swarm, where X equals 4 per open door, including this one. So since I opened that one and it's currently open, that's 2 open doors. Meaning that that first agility box would be an 8. It's a lot of agility. 3 agility dice. I've got 1 heroic feat die here. Two magic dice that I might be able to turn into a heroic die. I'll get a heroic die for my encounter bonus here. Plus I need that magic and that combat, or that strength up there. I don't know. I guess I'll do it. We got to do some of these encounters, just suffer some consequences along the way. I'll roll this for a heroic feat. It's a 6. I think that's how this works. I don't know if that actually needs to be used on the encounter that you roll it. I don't know. I seem to remember that the way that I'm playing it as the rule from the first time I played it. If you know if I'm playing this wrong, please leave me a comment down below so I know, do I have to use that on the turn that I roll it, or can I choose to use it or not? So gather all my dice. So 4 strength dice, 3 agility, now 2 magic dice, and 1 encounter bonus die. All of these strength dice so low. I need to cycle in some new ones. All right, let's see. I needed an 8 on this shield here because there's 2 open doors. I have a 3 to cover up that one. This magic die with a 5 can cover up that. I could use this heroic die to cover up that. I still have this skill that I can use. I could re-roll a die with this skill, or I could just take a die up by 1. I think I will take this 2 and make it a 3 to cover up that there. I've got a strength die that I can use back there. Minimum of 3, I'll cover it up with a 4. So now the question is, do I want to use this there? I can't do anything with these guys here because making a heroic die would give me just a 2. Okay, yep. I'm just going to do it so that I don't... Or do I just want to take the wound so that I get another heroic die? This character kind of want to take some damage. I don't think I'll spend it. I'll take the damage. So the consequences I will suffer is a damage, getting me another heroic die, and a time. Okay, so I clear all that off. Now I think I'm going to take the skill on the bottom there. So that skill, if I spend 2 strength dice, then I can roll another strength die and a heroic die, which would have been perfect for the battle that I was just in when I had those really low heroic die numbers. You can spend them on that skill. And I get 4 strength dice anyway. All right. So that's the end of the turn. Start of the next turn. Spend 2 time. And let's just do this encounter here. Okay, yeah. We will take on this cave-in. It is a Peril Encounter. If I try to climb over it, yeah, the top one's going to make me spend 2 time just to even encounter it. So I think I'll climb over it. And I also have to cover up these up here. But I get a free heroic die, and then I've got these heroic die in my heroic feat area. So in order to not spend the extra time, we'll do the climb over it option. So I take the dice that I'm allowed to take based upon the encounter type that I've chosen. So it's agility, and I get the encounter bonus there. I'll roll these, a 3 and a 1. So now I will roll these. All right, I have to cover up the 2 there first because it has a shield on it. So I will use that there. I did not roll a 6 to cover the Peril Encounter box there, and I need at least 11, so I've got 9. I've got 12 here. This is 7, 10, 11. I think I will just take the damage, but then here, this is what I'll do. I will, so this is 9, 10, 11, 12. To cover that up, I'm going to use my lucky familiar to re-roll this and hope I get a 6 to cover the flame aura there. Nope. So I will take that damage and get another heroic die to store there. All right, so I suffered that consequence. And I think I'm going to take, I'll take this skill. It basically turns any strength die into a 6. And that'll be my 3rd skill that I can have based upon my level. Okay, start of the next turn, I got to spend 2 time. And I think I'll take this ogre on now. So I'll leave them over there while I roll heroic feat dice first. 4 and a 1. I get my 4 strength, 3 agility, 2 magic, and 1 heroic die for the encounter bonus. All right, so let's bring this guy over here. There are no shields, so I can assign these dice in any order. I've got a 6 and a 5 on the agilities there. I will let's see. I'll use this 5 to cover up that 5 up there. This magic die here is doing nothing for me as a 1, and this agility die is doing nothing for me as a 1. Okay, so for my skills down here, I will take these 2 strength dice to pay for this ability, which then allows me to roll another strength die and a heroic die. So I have a 5 and a 3. So now I might as well, if I take another strength die to pay for this one, it says gain a strength 6, so that basically turned that 5 into a 6. So what can I do here? I could take this 5 and this 1 to pay for that 6 there. I really need to pay for that 12. I'm going to take these 2 1s, turn them in for a heroic 1. So now these guys here can pay for this 12. And perhaps I don't want to spend those there. I've got a 9, a 6, and a 3 left to cover. And I do have this 4 I could spend here. If I took this 5 and this 4, I could cover this 9. I could take this 3 to cover that. And these 2 to cover that, and then my consequence is 1 time because I don't cover that. That's good. So my consequence is a time. Now, do I take this for the 4 experience, or do I get another strength die? So I've got these things down here. I think for now I'll take it as a strength die and as a hit point. So now based on my current level, I'm maxed out on my 3 items and 3 skills. So the skills are skills beyond the skill that's already printed on your character card. That one doesn't count against your limit. Okay, end of the turn, sorry, the next turn I got to spend 2 time, and then my turn is going to be to explore to get 4 doors out there. Next turn, spend 2 time at the beginning and encounter a room. Let's go up here first. It's that force wall again. Either agility or magic. Three agility dice to get an 11 and a 6 and a 2 and only, so I have 4 dice actually. I'm not going to do that one. Start of the next turn, spend 2 time. We'll go here. We can do this. This is a rune puzzle, Peril Encounter. So we will do the bottom one, destroy it. Trying to get an 11. Now, one thing to note, I guess I should probably move these up so you can see all of my skills. I don't know if you can see here on this crushing blow skill, it only has the combat encounter. It does not have combat and peril. So I can't use this skill during peril encounters. Okay, so I get 5 strength dice and 1 heroic die from the encounter bonus there. Okay. I'm going to use the persistence skill. Take both of these 1s, spin them there. It allows me to roll another strength and another heroic die. That worked out. I'll plop that there. Oh, I have to cover up the shield first. So we'll put that 2 there. That's 6 there. And this 5 and this 6 to make this 11. Okay, encounter passed or finished. So I do not want to replace anything I already have out here. I'll just take it as 2 experience points. So the next turn, spend 2 time. And we'll go here. Goblin. So this is similar to the rat thing fought earlier, where the X is for per open door. So we have 2 open doors right now. So that first box is going to be an 8. Yeah, we will take on this goblin here. So gather dice. We've got 5 strength dice, 3 agility, 2 magic, and 1 heroic. This looks pretty good. So we need to cover up 8. I don't even think I need to use persistence. It does get you an extra heroic die though. But there's no reason not to do crushing blow, so I will spend that strength 3 to turn it and to gain a strength 6. And we need 8. So this is going to be overkill on the shield, which is kind of an unfortunate thing that you got to cover the shields first, but that's what you got to do. 5 magic die there. A 3 there. Okay. This one was passed with ease. Like that and that. There. Didn't need to use these. Everything's covered. 2 more experience points. Next turn, spend 2 time. What have we got left here? We've got enough, I think, to at least open this and see what's going on there. Bear traps. Now let's encounter it. We'll do the top one. So in order to do the top one, to disarm them, I have to spend 3 time. 1, 2, 3. and it's agility, so we take our 3 agility dice plus our 1 encounter die there. That's not there anymore. Ooh, don't run away. Oh, that was a 6. Oh, this is terrible. So I have to cover up this shield 2 first. I've got a 1, a 3, and a 2, which is going to be just enough to cover this box here. I don't think I want to risk it by re-rolling 1. It's not going to help me anyway. I'm not going to get enough to cover all the boxes. So I'll suffer the consequence of taking a damage, which will give me a heroic die to store. I have 7 total hit points, and I'm at 4 damage right now. And I do still have the healing potions there. I'm trying to save those for the boss encounter. All right. So I suffered the consequence. And I will take this. I might take this as a potion just in case I need. So the potion here makes the potion, it allows me to roll 3 magic dice in case I come across an encounter where I need more magic. No, I'll take it as experience points. Like I just got done saying I wanted to save the healing potions. So that's 6 out of 8. Start the next turn, spending time, reveals the stairs. Next level. And second wind, when I descend, heal 2. See if I can get a better shuffled. That was better. All right, Hall of Statues, spend 5 time before the first turn on every floor. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start on my first turn, spend 2 time. First action, explore. Start of the next turn, spend 2 time. And we will go here first. It's the ogre again. Different ogre. So I think this is the ogre down here. So this is just another ogre with different stuff on his card. He was not the funnest guy to fight. I think I'll do it though. So put him over here so you can take a peek at him. No shields, a lot of strength dice required. Some agility dice. I might take him as an item to replace this magic here, because this card gives magic and health. Heroic feat, I'll roll the die that's sitting there. Ooh, I got a 6. Good timing. 3 agility dice. 5 strength dice. 2 magic, and 1 encounter bonus. Let's bring him over. All right, so I'm going to spend these 2 dice here to get me from this skill to be able to roll another strength and another heroic die. Much better. I got to cover up a 10 with the shield first. That's taken care of. 12, where I take 3 damage. Perhaps instead of that 4, I will use this 4. because then I can spin this one here to gain a strength die with a 6 on it. Then I can spin these 2 strength dice here to cover the 12. How about agility? We've got a 6 there. 5 and a 4, and I still have this that I can either re-roll a die or just increase a die. What else can I do? I've got the need for a magic 5 over there. So I could use that skill to make this 4 a 5. I can spend these 2 dice to make a heroic 3. Now, what has that gotten me? Not a lot. That die is probably not really usable. Well, I'll cover up as much stuff as I can. Do this, and then I can spin this to cover this 5 agility there. So my consequences are going to be 1 time from this box here, two damage from that box there, and with that 2 damage, for every damage I take, I can store 2 heroic dice. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to replace this card here as an item. So I will stuff that there. So I still have the same number of magic dice, but now I have an extra hit point. This will go as XP, which gives me a total of 9 XP. So these cards are all going to go to the discard. And I will go to level 3. So now I can get 2 more items, another skill. It'll be 10 XP to level up again, and I still get 1 encounter die. I get another potion. Every time you level up, you get a potion. I think you also get a potion every time you add a potion. When you add another type of potion, I think you also get to add another potion cube there. Next turn, spin 2 time, and let's encounter this over here. The ice elemental again. All that magic required with all of this stuff over here, I'm going to skip it. So next turn, spin 2 time at the beginning of the turn. Just not built for magic encounters. And more magic. I don't have... Wait a minute. I should not have taken those off. Yep. I should not have taken those off. Spend time for each 1 rolled. Is that glooping? Is it glopping or glooping ooze? I'll have 1, 2, 3 heroic die. I can turn in 2 for another heroic die. 2 magic dice. We'll try it. Could be the death of me. All right, collect dice. So, or heroic feat first. 5 and a 4. 5 of those. 3 agility, 2 magic, and 1 bonus encounter die. This guy over here, it's going to spend these 2 strength dice to roll another strength die and a heroic die. I'll spend this strength die here to get a strength 6 die. All right, we've got magic with shields on it, and we have this up here, that strength with as a requirement. So let's cover up that shield first with those 10. I can use this 2 on this magic here, and maybe I'll spend this 3 there. So all my shields are covered up. This 5 does 2 damage, and this 5 down here does 2 time. I'm going to cover up the damage one because I am getting a little damaged here. There's no agility required. I've got 2 6s, so let me cover up this 6. And I will cover up that 4 with this 6. I will use this 5 to cover that up, this 4 to cover that up. I'm going to use my lucky familiar to re-roll this heroic die and hopefully get higher than a 3. I did, so I will cover that up. Oh, did I roll any 1s? I did roll 1s. I used 2 1s here and a 1 here. So his ability, I have to spend time for every 1 rolled. So I have to spend 3 time because of those 1s that I rolled. So now the question is, what loot do I want? I think I'm going to take this either as the item to get the magic die, or as the skill. So I can spend a strength die to gain a heroic 6 that can only be used to cover a box with a shield, which is fine. I've got lots of boxes with shields that need to be covered, and I get 5 strength dice to begin with. I don't know if it's better to get the magic die. Surely the automatic heroic 6 traded for a possible low strength die has got to be better, right? It's got to be. And I can have 4 skills beyond my basic skill. Might be going overboard with the spend strength dice here. We'll see. Okay, start of the next turn. Spend 2 time. And let's encounter... Yeah, let's encounter this. Phantom. Immediately discard all 1s and 3s rolled. Not doing that. So we're fleeing. Start of the next turn. Spend 2 time. Let's take on this ice elemental again. Before the encounter, spend 3 time. Getting down here. Maybe should have explored to get some new doors, but... Alright, and I don't have any bonus heroic dice here, so... Okay, 5 of those, 3 of these, 2 of these, and 1 bonus encounter dice, or die. All right, so let's start here, spending those, and then rolling another one of those and a heroic die. That's good. Now I should spend a strength die to gain a strength with a 6, and then spend a strength die to gain a heroic die with a 6 that can only be spent on boxes with shields. So just throw it there. And do I use that or do I use this? If I do that, that's minimum of 10. Have I been playing that wrong? Is that minimum, or is that has to exactly get to that number? I think I've been playing that wrong. No, is at least as high as the number in the box. Okay. I've been playing it correctly. All right, 11, I can do that. Magic 5, cover that. What do I have left? I have this 4 that I can use to cover this double damage box here. I have a 6 that I can use to cover this. I still have my lucky familiar here that I can use to re-roll something. I should probably just re-roll this. See what I get. A 5. So I will use this 5 to cover this magic here, and then I'm going to use this 5 and this 3 to create a heroic die with a 3 on it to cover up. I'm going to take the damage, so I'll cover up this. So my consequence is this uncovered box here, which gives me a damage. And I'll get a heroic die there, which I cannot use during the boss encounter. So it would be good to use it before I get down another floor to fight the boss. All right, so this encounter is over. I'm not going to have enough time to level up again, so I'll just take this as an item because I can have 5 items. So it's going to be another agility die and another hit point. I keep removing that heroic die when I'm cleaning my dice off, even though I just got it. Start of the next turn. So at the start of a turn, I can use a healing potion to remove 3 damage from a hero. Spend 2 time. And go exploring. 1, 2, 3. End of the turn. Start of the next turn. Spend 2 time. The stairs are revealed. So now we descend down into the boss fight. So let's just get this stuff out of the way. Show the boss. Okay, so the way you do a boss fight, still got 2 potions. And this is going to be wasted. I can't use it during the boss fight, so. Boss fights happen over multiple rounds. I still get to use this heroic die here. Let me just move this over here so you can see the steps. It's like a combat encounter fought over multiple rounds. So you do this multiple rounds. You roll the dice and you cover up as many boxes as you can, following the same rules as you would normally. And then you suffer any of the consequences. And he has a certain number of hit points that you have to take out. And then you do damage to him by covering up boxes that have the skull symbol on them. That's step 4 there. So you strike the boss, 1 damage per box with the skull that's covered up. Then you go on to the next round. So you can see here, I'd have to cover up those 2 5s with shields. His ability is that heroic dice cannot be placed on boxes with skulls in them. So I need to cover up these in order to do damage to him. And if I don't cover up these boxes, he's going to do lots of damage back to me. But you notice that when I flip the card over, I don't have to do any of these things anymore. So I don't have to worry about covering that stuff up. It's just the stuff that's on the boss's card here. So let's gather the dice. We've got 5 strength dice, 3 agility dice, 2 magic dice, and 1 bonus heroic die. And I gotta cover those agilities with shields on them first. Okay, just to make sure that I can do that, I'm gonna use Lucky Familiar to turn this agility 4 into a 5. So I've met the criteria of covering those. I don't think there's any, oh wait, yes, I can get to 16 on the magic. I just don't like the looks of that 4 damage. Then let's use some more abilities here. Let's take these 2 and roll a strength and heroic die. Good, that's good. Now I cannot use this based on his ability to cover a box with a skull on it, so I will use that there. I can turn this here into a strength 6. I don't know that I want to do this bottom ability to gain another. I don't know that I need to, because if I use both of these here, that finishes off the 17 strength test there. So now I have these. I can only use one of them. Is there another way to do this? I don't think so, because I can't. So what I'm contemplating here is if I put this 6 here, I could get a 6 heroic die. And this 6 heroic die could replace one of these other guys. It has to go on a shield box, so I can only replace that there. And I don't have any way to be able, because I can only put 1 agility die here, 1 magic die there. So I don't think it really matters. I'm only going to be able to cover 1. All right, so I suffer consequences. First is 2 damage. And I only covered 1 skull box. So he has taken 1 damage. And then we start over. So 5 of those, 3 of those, 2 magic and 1 heroic. All right. Light on the magic this time. But let me take these two here to roll another strength and another heroic die. That's not great. All right, I've got to do that. And I probably have to, again, pump this up with Lucky Familiar, because I got to cover those shield spots first. Then I can spend this 4 to gain a 6. So that gets me to 17 here again. But maybe I do this so I can have that to cover the actually, no. I'm going to turn this back into a 4. Let's see. That's 17, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this strength die down here to get a black 6 heroic die that I can only spend on shield spots. So I will cover that. 16 magic. What is this? This is 9. But I still have my Lucky Familiar that I could use. So I could pump this to a 6 to cover 2 spots. But then I'm going to take 5 damage. I've only got 2 potions. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 9 hit points. So not being able to cover that magic is kind of a problem. 16, so 9. If I can re-roll, I haven't used Lucky Familiar yet. I really need to figure out a way to stop that magic damage. What should I re-roll? Maybe this and see what happens. Or I just take the damage and use a potion and see if I get lucky on the next turn. Because this 17 is already blocking this. Oh, I'll use Lucky Familiar to pump this up. To block that spot and that spot. There's probably a better way to do it. I'm just not seeing right now. So I'm taking 5 damage. I have to suffer the consequences. That's 5 damage. Would take me to 9 total. So let's put the 5 here. That would knock me out, but you are allowed to spend a potion to prevent it. So since it's not the start of my turn, that only heals 2 off of me. So I've got a ton of damage on me. I only covered up 2 skull icons. So I have to figure out a way to cover up all the skull icons and be able to stay alive on this next turn in order to win, or I'll be knocked out. Okay, so starting over, 5 of those. Oh, I'm supposed to have 4 agility dice. Oh man, I've been shorting myself. All right, if I lose, we'll put an asterisk next to it. I totally forgot about that other item. So used to the whole playthrough having 3. All right, so let's turn these two in here for another strength and another heroic die. Okay. Let's turn this one in here. Do I want to do that, or do I want to turn it in for... All right, so let's just think about this for a second. I have to cover up these two shields first. Oh, the magic. Magic is terrible. But I have to use, let's see, I have to use these dice to cover up non-skull spots, right? So that's already 11. So that's 11. If I turned this into a black 6, but it has to be used on a shield spot. It doesn't really get me anything. So if I go here, I can turn that into that. I can use Lucky Familiar. So I'm at 11 out of 16. I need 5 more there. I can use Lucky Familiar to turn this into a 4, which gets that spot covered. Then I need 17, so that's 10. Nope. 12, 16. I'm not seeing it because I'm going to take 3 damage. Yeah, and so I think I just have to take the 3 damage and try to live another round. Yeah. So I'm not going to end up doing any damage to him this turn. So my consequence is taking 3 damage. I'm at a total of 7. 3 takes me to 10, but I can use this healing potion to heal off 2. So I'm at 8 damage. I did no damage to him. I probably should have played to get another item. Just have more dice here, or maybe I'm overdoing it with the strength dice manipulation here. Not sure. I have to get really lucky here. I basically have to cover up all of the boxes in order to win on this roll. All right, let's turn these 2 ones in for another strength and a heroic die. Oh, that heroic 1 is not going to do it. Well, I can turn this 2 in for a 6. I got to cover up these shields, but without another 6, it is not going to happen. The 1 damage is going to get me, I think. Nope, I don't have another 6 on the magic dice here either. Right, because even if I turn this in to get a black 6 that I can only spend on shields, I guess I could do this and then use Lucky Familiar to pump that 4 to a 5. So now the shields are covered. That 6 would go there. I do not have a 6 on the magic dice though. And I don't have 17 there or 16 there. That's 12, 15, 16. And I cannot create another die there. Oops, that was a 4 and a 1. So I'm going to take a lot of damage here, because I can't cover that. 12, 15, 16, I can't cover that unless I don't cover that. Just see how much damage I end up taking. So this is 10, 14, no, I can't even get to 16 to cover that. All right, lots of damage. Warrior dead. I lose to the dragon. I'm pretty sure that I made some mistakes along the way. I think I might have been in a better position if I had realized that I could roll 4 agility dice during the first couple of rounds against this dragon. Might have actually had a chance. Or maybe if I had 1 more healing potion. All right, so if you saw anything that I did miss, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, yeah, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be playing more Jaws of the Lion. I might do some more One Deck Dungeon in between. I got some other games coming up on the schedule. So please let me know if you did like this, anything that I missed. I'll leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.